What's up everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Preeti Rao and I am both a real estate broker and a mortgage broker for close to 20 years. Today's topic is a little different. It's more on what's really going on around the globe and how it's impacting Canada. And are we really doomed? So make sure to like, share, tap that bell icon and hit that subscription button, people. It gets me motivated to keep you up to date with everything real estate. You know the old saying, history repeats itself? Well, we are kind of going through the same economic crisis that the world went through in the 80s. And I'm not talking just North America, all over the world. The key event leading to the recession was the 1979 energy crisis, mostly caused by the Iranian Revolution, which caused a disruption in the global oil supply, which saw oil prices rising sharply in 1979 and early 1980s. The sharp rise in oil prices pushed the already high rates of inflation in several major advanced countries. Developed countries tightened their monetary policies by increasing interest rates in order to control the inflation. We are currently experiencing the exact same thing. In the 80s, global debt had eroded the economic stability of the world with the skyrocketing oil prices. This put many countries into huge deficits, taking their foreign debt to unprecedented heights and literally pushing their economy to a point of collapse. Countries were not able to pay off their foreign debts, and that led to a series of sovereign defaults. And developing countries faced high inflation, unemployment, mountains of debt, and the cherry on the cake, a very slow economic growth. Now, you can turn around and tell me, yeah, but that was the 80s. Why are you giving us a history lesson today? Because 3 decades later, history is repeating itself. See, when you live in your home, right? You know what's going on in your home, well, obviously. You may also know what's going on in your neighbor's house to your left or to your right. Noise coming from there may disturb you, but it may not bother you so much. You can live with it. Or you are best buddies with your neighbor and you exchange vegetables from your garden, you exchange food. But do you know what's happening 10 doors down? You are absolutely unaware unless it's a big thing. Or let's say that they put their house on the market for sale and it's a divorce and it's a distress sale and it goes for $200,000 less than the market value. You will notice because that is going to impact the value of your home. The world works the same way. Yes, we are all different countries, and yes, some countries are rich, some are poor, some are very poor. Many countries like Canada are proud to call themselves developed countries. Each country currently has its own set of issues going on, and all these issues are impacting not only Canada but the rest of the world. Let's look at Sri Lanka, one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Its economy has collapsed. The massive debt accompanied by the shrinking foreign reserves. There isn't enough money to pay for basic necessities. Their inflation rate right now is at 54.6%. And yes, this crisis is Sri Lanka's own doing. Nepotism in politics, mismanagement of country's finances, huge tax cuts to the rich. They were all leaning towards a decline. And then came the pandemic. That was the final nail in the coffin, accompanied by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which then increased the prices of food and fuel. Do you really think what's happening in Sri Lanka will not have a ripple effect on the entire world? This might just be the beginning. In February of 2022, the World Bank issued a warning that developing nations face a serious debt crisis worth $11 billion. That report said this burden could crush their economy in 2022. That same month, Russia invaded Ukraine. The invasion not only disrupted the food supply chain, but it triggered a global oil crisis, which then led to tougher financial conditions all over the world. Today, 69 countries face all the 3 risks: food, oil and energy, and finance. And there is a very strong possibility that these countries will soon follow the same crisis as Sri Lanka is in right now. Now again, you can turn around and tell me, yes, but that is Sri Lanka. We do not fall in the category of those 69 countries. And you are right. The cost of rise in gas and food, lack of supply of certain goods and services is a mere inconvenience for us. We live in Canada, one of the developed countries, and we are the lucky ones. But Canada does not produce a lot of its own products. We rely heavily on imports. We depend on other countries for coffee, for tea, most of our fruits and vegetables, rice, cooking oil. The list is long. And it's not just food. What about automotive parts, furniture, computer machineries? We depend on other countries for all of this. And guess which countries those are? The developing countries that are currently in deep trouble. Russia exports coffee, tea, oil, seeds, grains, fruits, you name it, they export it. But they are at war, so they are not exporting anything anytime soon. A country like Egypt, who depends on Ukraine and Russia for wheat and oil, they are really struggling right now. Lebanon. In 2020, the Beirut blasts destroyed Lebanon's largest grain storage. As if that was not enough, the war combined with inflation has crippled their imports. But that's the rest of the world. I mean, why do we care, right? We are fine. But the question is, are we? Countries all around the world are banning exports. Argentina has banned the exports of soybean oil. Algeria has banned pasta, wheat, vegetable oil, and sugar. Egypt has banned vegetable oil, wheat flour, lentils, pasta, beans. Indonesia has banned palm oil. Serbia has banned wheat, corn flour, vegetable oil. And India has also banned the export of wheat. The war has increased the prices of all these commodities. The priority of governments worldwide is to control prices at home to ensure food security. So what will happen to the prices of all these commodities once our reserves go low or we start running out? Prices will continue to rise, taking us from this mere inconvenience to ouch, that hurts. What will happen if this war does not end? We may not reach the plight that Sri Lanka is in, but we actually will start feeling the effect. Everything that is happening around the globe is hitting home, and if not, it will. Stocks are falling, currencies are losing value, basic commodities have gone up overnight. Global crisis is creating shortage in the supply chain, which is affecting the import-export trade within Canada, and higher prices for everything has raised its ugly head. Countries are protecting their reserves, their commodities. They're not exporting the way they did before 2020. The shortage of food products, commodities, oil and gas is giving rise to inflation. It's bad enough that the pandemic gave birth to this problem, but the war in Russia has added fuel to the fire and continues to do so. And like I said right now, the rise in food and gas prices and shortage in commodities, all of this is a mere inconvenience to us, and we are still spending on eating outside, on traveling, on holidays, on shopping. Now, I'm not saying don't have a life, I'm not saying don't do it, but then be prepared for the consequences. The lack of supply gives rise to higher prices. We don't care, we still spend. The spending gives rise to inflation. Inflation gives rise to higher interest rates, which then in turn brings down the value of your home. This is what is currently happening in Canada. Now, we cannot do anything on the economic crisis around the globe, but it's very important to understand why we are in the situation that we are in today. Come September, prime rates will go up again because inflation is not coming down. Now, Bank of Canada says that it will go up only by 50 basis points or maybe 75 basis points. But man, I don't trust them. The last time they bumped it up by 1%, sending all of us in shock. Inflation today is sitting at 8.1%. That really needs to come down. We all live in our own little bubble and we forget that the world is so interconnected. Any crisis can have a domino effect. A small event in a far-off place can trigger an unstoppable chain reaction that affects the developing countries first, and the developed countries will also face the wrath eventually. So, if you found value and liked this video and would like to see more content, click on the boxes on the screen. Once again, my name is Preeti Rao and my contact information is in the description box below. Make sure to hit like, share, subscribe and the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to call me because I hold the key that opens the door to your dream home.